All right, so we are talking about incorporation considerations, and the question I often get is, what is the difference between a sole proprietorship and an incorporated business? How should I structure my business? So in this video, I hope to demystify some of both the advantages and the disadvantages of sole proprietorships and corporations so that you can make a great business decision. So many incorporation questions come from not knowing the difference between the two different business structures, which hinders your ability to pick the best setup. Now, there is a ton of misinformation out there provided by some very well-meaning acquaintances that can send you careening down a terrible path. So one client of mine that we are going to call Jeremy has spent years paying for extra accounting and legal fees from an incorporation that he isn't valuing from. So Jeremy mentioned to a friend that he was starting his own business, and the friend, who is a successful business owner, insisted that Jeremy become incorporated. Now, Jeremy took their advice without fully understanding the considerations that surround an incorporation decision. So this decision still plagues Jeremy, adding extra administrative tasks and expenses without providing any tax benefits. Now, luckily there is a solution. Jeremy can go and choose to go through the process of closing down a corporation and operating instead as a sole proprietorship again. So almost every week I have new business owners sitting in my office terrified to make the wrong business decision. They are paralyzed and unable to move forward with their new business ventures because they don't want to make any wrong moves. Now, incorporation is a big decision. It can be unnecessarily expensive, and it significantly affects your business and tax experiences down the road. It can also be tremendously beneficial in the right circumstances. In this series, we'll go through the things that you are going to want to consider both before and during incorporation to ensure that you avoid making the wrong choice. So let's start with what incorporation isn't. What is a sole proprietorship? A sole proprietorship is when you are operating a business that has not gone through the formal process of incorporating with a government body. In other words, you haven't incorporated. So an incorporation comes into existence when you go through the legal drudgery of formally incorporating with a government body. Now, incorporating is a reasonably lengthy process. So before you dive in, let's go through some of the advantages and disadvantages of each structure. So sole proprietorships, some of their advantages. They are easy to set up. They are less regulated than corporations. They have fewer bookkeeping requirements. And if things don't initially go well, losses can be offset against other personal income, like employment income. All right, so some of their disadvantages. Now, there is unlimited liability in a sole proprietorship. There are also extremely limited tax deferral or tax planning options, mostly limited to RRSPs and expense timing. There is no ability to use the lifetime capital gains exemption if you sell your business. Now let's talk about incorporations, some of their advantages. There is reduced or limited personal liability. There is more tax planning and more tax deferral options, and you may be able to utilize the lifetime capital gains exemption if you sell your business. Now let's go through some of their disadvantages. So it's expensive, and there are high setup costs and annual maintenance fees from both a lawyer and an accountant. There's also extra administrative hurdles every year that you're going to have to go through with an incorporation, and it's difficult to close down if things don't originally go as planned. The last thing to know is business losses cannot be offset against personal income unless you are formally winding up the corporation. Now, incorporation is a huge topic, and each of the considerations I mentioned has a multitude of details that are beneficial for you to know about when deciding your business's future. So in each of our incorporation videos, we discuss topics to help you make a great business decision. I hope this video has helped demystify some of the advantages and disadvantages of both sole proprietorships and incorporations, so you no longer have to rely on well-meaning acquaintances. That's all I have for today on incorporations. Bye for now.